Okay, I've got the magic cloth on my lap, and I just wanted to talk about the changes and what's going on with this, because it really, I really got started again with the sun, moon, stars in my mind here, and you know, it's just an example of how, you know, whatever you're focusing on, whatever you spend time on, it immediately fills your head, and you know, you can apply a lot of those things to things that you may already be working on. So, you know, the whole series just got me involved again with this cloth, because it was, it did have kind of that cosmic energy to it to begin with, and so, you know, the whole sun points idea, I'm back in it again. So, you know, when I added the when I added the points, they were kind of ragged edge, and I decided to turn them, because I like to have the turned elements on top of the ragged base. It's very stabilizing, and besides that, you know, a cloth that's going to be used, these tiny pieces, I think functionally, I always consider doing a turned edge. It just gives it more wearability. But you know, when you've got a cloth base to work on like this, with several layers in it, it gives you the option to, you know, a better option at getting at some of these center spots. You know, doing a turned applique, you really want to hold on to it, and it gives you a much better chance to do a good job at it. I'm just gonna, you know, a lot of times when I rough cut, I just go back in and give myself a little bit of a line to work with or work against. And of course, these pieces become smaller when you turn them. So if you know you're going to do that, you want to cut them a little bit larger. I wasn't really too concerned with them being all the same size, but I did know that they would come in a little bit. And then because you have layers, you can use what I call the pinch method. Now you might have to practice this a little bit, but what I do is I come up underneath. This needle is really way too thick, but I'll try. And I've got 2 strands of floss here. I like to use 2 strands of thread when I'm sewing a cloth that's, you know, going to get some wear. And what I'm doing is I'm turning here, but when I take my stitch, I'm only stitching on the top layer. This allows me to hold on, or fold the cloth over and hold on to it, you know, even though I'm in the middle of another, the whole cloth. It's just much easier to handle and turn, but because I've got layers going on, I can catch this top layer and still not catch the rest of the cloth. Now, if you get good at this, I mean, you can kind of feel, you can kind of use your needle to pull the top layer of cloth up. I mean, I'm pretty used to it, so I can usually tell if I've caught the one underneath. And the worst thing that can happen is you have to cut it and take it out. But to try to sew with your hand underneath and turn, and it's, you know, it's just really not practical. So this method allows me to always go back and embellish my cloths with turned applique, or anything for that matter, and hold on to it as if it's a small little piece, which makes it just much, much easier to work with. And you'll just turn, fold again, and pinch. And you can just really have a lot of control. Now, you know, I just wanted to mention that a big cloth is much more different, and it's it's not going to be laid out flat and open like an artwork. It's going to be scrunched up, or it's going to be wrapped around you in some way. So the way you look at it and the way you work on it and what you choose to put on it, it's in your lap, and it's just a whole different aesthetic. You may find that as you're working, you just get really up close to it and start adding things, and you don't add them the same way as you would add it if it's hanging on a wall or it's out flat on a table. So those things really start to influence my decisions on embellishment, because the whole view of a big cloth when you're holding it is not the same as a flat artwork.